Hello and welcome to Faultlines. I'm your host Shahzad Raza. The cost of war is always huge in terms of human lives, economic losses, loss to infrastructure and environment degradation. Almost 600 days passed when Israelis they invaded Gaza. And on the day of International Women's Day, Palestinian authorities released the figure and saying, and these are very heartfelt facts, that more than 12,000 women lost their lives during Israeli invasions to Gaza. This is happening in the aftermath of what President Donald Trump uttered, stated and gave out his plan about Gaza. What he wanted is that Palestinians should leave Gaza and United States of America should take over Gaza and build it, convert into some sort of other city. But on the other hand, the Arab nation, the Muslim countries, including Pakistan, they have their own plan, and primarily for the benefits of the people of Palestine. They have their rebuilding plan, $53 billion they propose for the rebuilding of Gaza, in which the Palestinian, they should have the maximum autonomy, their freedom of lives, and they should live there with security and dignity and respect. And in their process, and they also propose the committee of international experts should govern Gaza, in which there should be an interim setup, of course, and there should there would not any room for violence at all. All this happening. And in the Middle East, this is something very unique when the Arab leaders have united together for the permanent peace, especially of this very long conflict happening more than 7 decades at the moment. So, is it workable? Is it practical? The Arab nations and all the entire Muslim community, including Pakistan, they have voiced their concerns in the past, asking the peace in the region, asking Israel to stop all the atrocity and give the Palestinian people the rights they deserve. It was not happening in the past, but now the situation might change, because now the world has realized that enough is enough. Even the 4 important European Union nations, they endorsed the Gaza plan proposed by Egypt and endorsed and also accepted by Organization of Islamic Conference. This is one of the important points we are going to discuss in this program, and the concerns that Pakistan is facing at the moment and the threats Pakistan is facing at the moment, the recent surge in the acts of terrorism, especially after the departure of United States of America from Afghanistan, and the non-state actors having their safe havens in Afghanistan. They got hold of all the latest arms and ammunition left by the international forces in Afghanistan, and they are using that technology targeting Pakistani security forces and other targets, including the civilians inside Pakistan. To discuss this, we have with us Johar Saleem. He is the former foreign secretary. We have Shahzad Cheema. She's an international expert, and she's joining us on the video link from Prague. Thank you so much, Shahzad Cheema and Johar Saleem. And in the short while, we will have AVM Ijaz Malik and Professor Dr. Munawar Hussain as well. Johar Saleem Saab, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. Pleasure.
Sir, so this Arab League Gaza plan, I mean, frankly speaking, is it workable? Is it practical? Because all such the plans, the designs and all these proposals proposed by the sane people across the globe, they always were rejected by Israelis, because they did not have any foreign intervention into their so-called territory, which they are illegally and unconstitutionally occupying at the moment. So do you think that this plan, Egyptian-led plan and endorsed by the Arab League and OIC and also appreciated by the 4 European countries, you think that it is a practical plan?
Yeah, like you said, see, this is basically an Egyptian plan. Egypt had come up with this plan. It's a detailed plan, 112 pages long. It's primarily about, it talks about this period from now on to 2030 for a reconstruction, because Gaza is totally destroyed, as we know. It's a heap of, it's literally a heap of rubble as we speak. And so what the plan says, basically, it talks about a 6-month interim period during which you'd have a technocratic, basically, committee of experts who would administer it. There'd be then UN peacekeepers there, and sort of, and the basic focus would be on reconstruction with a $53 billion budget, and they would be constructing, and they plan to construct a harbor, hotels, and so basically housing, of course, because all the housing is destroyed. It's quite an interesting plan. So far, what we've seen is it has been adopted by.
It is, of course. But sir, my point was that at one hand, that we are proposing we means that all the Islamic Ummah or the OIC countries, they are proposing plans to resolve this long-standing dispute. But on the other hand, the powers like the United States of America, they have their own plan. I mean, President Trump is saying that asking Palestinians to leave Gaza so that the United States should govern it. I don't know, to convert it into some sort of a summer resort or what.
Riviera, that's what Trump's plan was. But you have to remember that plan has been rejected by almost everyone other than the Israelis, right? That plan basically wanted to displace the Palestinians from there, to relocate all the Palestinians from there to other countries, and then change this Gaza into a Riviera of the Middle East, as Trump called it. But that is an impractical plan because, first of all, no Palestinians, they don't want to leave their homeland. Secondly, the Arab countries around them, for instance, the neighboring countries, Jordan and Egypt, they have refused that. They said they're not going to take, displaced Palestinians from there. They talked about Saudi Arabia as well. Trump talked, but none of those countries have agreed. So that plan is literally a rejected plan, although the Israelis have supported it. Now, Egyptian plan, what happened to it? Egyptian plan has been adopted, like you said. It has been adopted by Arab League. It has been adopted by OIC as well. It has been supported by the four most important European countries like the UK, France, Germany, Italy. And now they're looking forward to sort of probably garnering additional support from countries around the world. The Egyptian Foreign Minister has said that they want the support of China, Russia, and Japan and other important countries to it. So they'll be working for that. Now, the interesting thing here is that while the U.S. initially rejected it, like the Israelis, but subsequently the U.S. Special Envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, he then downplayed the administration's concern, and he actually termed the plan as a good faith first step from the Egyptians. So I think that is an interesting development, because that's positive, because it means that Americans are having second thought, because that is the only plan on the table with some practical sort of
as we know the recent top leadership in the Republicans, they are known for making audacious statements, and very soon they backtrack. Normally, we have seen in the past, they always backtrack those statements which do not suit the American interest. So you think that whatever proposed by the Arab nations and accepted by the entire Muslim community here, so that would interest the Americans, that it is basically going to serve their interest in the region if there is a peace in and the resolution of the dispute between Israelis and Palestinians.
Let's first see the sticking point in the plan from the Israeli perspective, what they have said. What they have said is that the elephant in the room is, what are you going to do with the Hamas the day after? Because the Israelis want to see Hamas be sort of totally disarmed. And they don't want Hamas to have any role there. Now, the Egyptian plan doesn't really give Hamas, they don't really talk much about Hamas, so it's not really clear what happens to Hamas there. And Israelis, again, the Israelis don't want UN peacekeepers. They're very allergic to having UN peacekeepers anywhere around their borders. So that is but on the other hand, what they are, and they also want their military presence, the continued military presence. So the security dimension of the Egyptian plan, which has now become the Islamic plan in a way, because it has been adopted by the 57-member organization of Islamic countries, I think that's just where. But still, I think this could be a good negotiation point. From there we will see a lot of negotiation. But as I said previously in my commentary,
Sir, one last question, Saleem Saab. One last question that. The plan proposed by Egypt and also supported wholeheartedly by other Arab nations, and some of them already had not good but already had a diplomatic relation with Israel. So, and Israel wants some sort of a legitimacy by its neighbors, especially those important Arab nations. So you think this can be a leverage the Arab nations can exert upon Israel, that your recognition can be conditional, provided if you recognize or accept this plan, and give access to the international peacekeepers to govern Gaza and help implementing the plan for the rebuilding with the help of all the world community with $53 billion as is proposed at the moment.
Yeah, you see, that game, if we could call it that in terms of international politics, has been played in that region since 1967, literally. Because all those countries say that, okay, we can normalize relations with Israel, provided there's a pathway to statehood. But then what we saw in President Trump's last term, that they came up with another path, which was Abraham Accords, whereby they said normalization without any regard to Palestinian statehood. So many countries there, they said they normalized relations with some Arab countries as well with Israel, without talking of without any further development on the Palestinian issue. Now, the Saudis, if we talk about, and the Saudis is probably the most important country there, and that's why the Israelis really want to normalize relations with them. For that, President Biden had come up with a plan which called the Grand Reconciliation Plan, and whereby it was offered, Saudi would normalize relations with Israel, but in lieu of that, they would come up with a peace plan having a path to Palestinian statehood. But that was rejected by the Israelis. So that is not but this thing is, yes, the Saudis are saying that, and many other Arab countries are saying that if Israel accepts some plan, which would also, but not just for Gaza, that has to be for the whole Palestinian people, and that has to have some pathway to statehood, then they are willing to normalize relations with Israel. But like I said, some already have without anything in return. But others are now holding, they're still holding to their conditions. So I think, eventually we will see a lot of give and take on this. But I think it's
point well taken.
So far,
Ambassador. Yeah, Ambassador George Saleem, thank you so much for your valuable time. Ambassador George Saleem, former Foreign Secretary of Pakistan, was with us and expressing his opinion on this important, very important issue. Dr. Shahzad Cheema, we have heard, and I am taking advantage of your academic credentials and your experience in the foreign policy affairs, that foreign policy in statecraft has no heart, but here in case of Palestine and Israel, we can safely say that it has no conscience, no value, no moral. Why? Because at one hand, the powers which are supporting Israel, no matter what, they are making every argument to support that invasion and occupation. But on the other hand, on the International Women's Day, it's a harsh reality that more than 12,000 women lost their lives during this 500 plus days war. So how would you say about all those so-called world leaders or the people who are holding the powers in those world capitals, which are supporting or giving arguments in favor of Israeli occupation and invasion of Gaza and West Bank? Dr. Shahzad Cheema.
See, there is nothing can be said to them. I mean, they are deaf to all the logical academic discussion. The only thing which we can understand is that this new, the world order, the international legal system or world order, whatever that is, the so-called watchdog of the entire world, is based on an idea, not even on a philosophy. And later it has become a theology and turned out into be a binary opposition between good versus evil. So that binary opposition is not going to meet each other even in infinity. So, and then the people like us, especially from the global south, which are the party of aggrieved for this last 70 years, if we see the constant events, we have been put in a situation where we have to choose a side. Either we are with the good or with the evil, and good and evil is already determined and relative and subjective to the hegemon powers. So whatever they are saying, that is going to be the good, or that is going to be the high moral status. And if we are choosing and going and parroting that, then we are at the right side. And if we have a different perspective, then automatically we are on the side of the evil. So that is a very ugly, that is a very bizarre, vicious circle which we are all victim of. We have seen on the Western media the same question crowing again and again: is Hamas a terrorist? Is Hamas a terrorist? Again and again, the same question is being repeated on the Western media, and the simple answer to that should be like, who is going to decide who is terrorist?
All right, point well taken, Dr. Saiba, but how would you see that recent awakening of the Muslim leaders, especially the Arab leaders, to this very conflict? But in the past, we saw that OIC was not very forthcoming in asserting itself for the resolution of this conflict and standing by the people of Palestine. But now they have a very definite, concrete and solid plan. $53 billion for the rebuilding of Gaza, and then it would be turned into something very, very different. But it cannot be done unless until they have some sort of an arrangement with Israel.
I think it can be done without an arrangement if they have the willpower. I again have my own conspiracy about that. This plan would not have been.
Gaza, the West Bank, all those are the occupied territories surrounded by the Israeli forces. I mean, Israel would not allow any outsider to come here, to come there or do any sort of a development or rebuilding work or even the humanitarian work. So how it can not be possible without snubbing Israel or forcing it to submit to the aspiration of the people of Palestine and the international norms and the morals you were talking about?
Yeah, so that's the point. This can be done. This can be done after having this Arab League plan. Netanyahu gave a comment that we do not agree to this plan because this plan is rooted in an outdated idea. And the translation to that is, the outdated idea means that once upon a time, some Ukrainian, Polish, Russian, Western, white Jews escaping the Holocaust decided to take refuge in a land. And after 70 or 80 years, they want the indigenous population of that land to be either dead or to be expelled from that area. And that is the translation, that this Arab plan is rooted into an outdated solution. So how this solution has become outdated, how this is going to be the possibility of the future, that Israel is going to stop where Israel is right now. Israeli and USA has categorically said that we are not going to implement any plan.
Point taken, Dr. Saiba. Point well taken. Let me get back to you. With more questions, but we are also joined by Dr. Munawar Hassan and AVM Ijaz Malik. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining the show. AVM Saab, now Hamas, one of the main factors or the players in this very conflict, it survived despite the fact that it has no recognition, no legitimate authority as such, and we are not here to eulogize or extol whatever Hamas is doing, but it is a force which majority Palestinian they support and back at the moment. But despite the fact whatever capacity they have, but they are resisting, and they survived more than 500 days war against the force like Israel, which has the backing of the superpower America, latest equipment, technology, manpower, resources, each and everything. But still, Hamas is resisting, manning the main checkpoints, making those exchange of prisoners. How it is possible such an organization can survive against the superpower or its pygmy or the proxy named Israel?
Well, as we have just listened to our other very valuable experts, I would just like to continue with this discussion. We have to see there are three aspects of this proposed plan and the way forward to somehow mitigate the suffering of the people.
Let me stop here, right? Let me stop you right here. Of course, you will express your opinion about the plan and whatever the phase is, but I want you to tell us this very important factor, Hamas, how it is going to contribute in the success and the failure of this very plan proposed by the Arab League?
You see, Hamas definitely represents a majority public support of Gaza. Nobody can deny that fact. But that support with a impending threat for Israeli interest in the region, it's not acceptable to the other parties of the conflict. So with now, after almost a year and a half, where we stand, the total destruction, and the people, it's their mere sustenance and survival is at stake. So Hamas probably would also take a bite on any arrangement which gives some respite to their people. And the other party of the conflict, you have mentioned about four European powers, Germany, United Kingdom, France, and Italy. They have also supported this plan with a caveat that Hamas should not be part of any arrangement. So they want any administrative dispensation with a defanged.
Whatever the agreement or arrangement is going to be, it's going to be with the Palestinian Authority led by Al-Fatah and maybe Israel, supervised by the Arab League. Arab League can be another player or the the guarantor in this conflict, or maybe some superpowers or the European nations, which are really asking the world leaders and especially the Israeli leadership to stop the atrocity and end the conflict.
Obviously, as I was just trying to say, that there is one financial aspect of this arrangement or the proposal. Obviously, the funding would come from mostly from the rich Arab countries, and then they want some international monetary assistance.
Right.
And there is an administrative aspect. And last but not the least is the political strategic way forward. So in all these things, the donors would become a stakeholder. They will ensure that the plan unfolds as per their desires, and the tacit guarantees of Israel would be taken. Because some of the major donors from the Arab countries, they are in sync with their interests, converge with Israel. That's why they haven't been speaking even
in the past. AVM Saab, in the past, many efforts were made to end this conflict. You think that there would be any difference this time? It would be something that would eventually go for the resolution of this long-standing conflict?
In my opinion, it's not what apparently is being, the optics which are being presented to international media. It does have, somewhat understanding of America and Israel, because the Trump administration does not want to continue with the conflicts globally. That's their declared policy.
All right. Point well taken, AVM Saab. Let me invite Dr. Munawar Hassan here. Dr. Saab, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
All right. Thank you so much for the wait. Question. The Palestinians, are they children of a lesser God? 12,000 women lost their lives in this more than 500 days conflict, and this is the report released by international NGOs on International Women's Day. And the US president, he basically criticized his predecessor, President Joe Biden, for his failure to save the lives of 12 American servicemen who were killed in a suicide bomb blast in 2021 at Kabul International Airport. So the lives of 12 Americans were more important. Of course, every life is important, I'm not saying that, but still 12,000 lives lost of women. And on International Women's Day, I'm asking you this question: are Palestinian children of a lesser God?
Raza Sahab, you are asking me about the question of morality. And the realists, they believe that morality is used by politics. Politics is not used by morality. And if you are talking about this Western world, they are definitely sensitive regarding their life. They are casualty sensitive community. And we remember in 1970s when there was a Vietnam War, there was the protest started in United States of America, and there was daddy back syndrome. So Americans, they are conscious regarding the casualties because the society is very materialistic.
No, casualties, but they were only concerned about the body bags being sent to Washington or any other cities in the United States of America from Vietnam, from Afghanistan, from Iraq, from anywhere in the world, but not the casualties or the loss of human lives anywhere in the world.
So Western world, I mean, they have a philosophy which is known as a liberal philosophy. In liberal philosophy, they give women rights, human rights, individual rights, the right of life, liberty, and property. But I mean, they damn care about the lives of the...
All right, sorry to cut you, sir. Sorry to cut you, sir. I'm really apologizing that I'm cutting you quite often, but sorry. But here I really ask you one thing. We say that foreign policy or in the statecraft, it has no heart. But tell me something from the standpoint of a foreign policy expert, that a human life, no matter what, you are American, Pakistani, Israeli, Palestinian, Arabian, whatever. So the value of a human life, isn't it the same? I mean, my life or the life of an American citizen, do you think that is there any comparison that their lives is more important than my life or the people of my the lives of my people?
Raza, you are asking me a question regarding the international morality. I am saying that international morality doesn't matter because you are talking about this foreign policy. Foreign policy is framed by the state, and in statism, we are talking about when statism, it means
No,
we are...
I can go on and debate with you the so-called Wilsonian principle and the American morals they wanted to implement all over the world.
The American morality, anyway, enlightenment is a successful model, at least in America, and therefore everybody is looking towards America. America is a dominant theme in international politics. No country can afford cutting off completely relationship with the United States of America, number one. Number two, as far as this Israeli and Palestinian conflict is concerned, we are living in a multipolar world. And you are talking about this Arab League, you are talking about OIC. I mean, they can perform a very effective role to resolve this issue. But now question is, are they agreed, number one? Number two, do they have this capacity? Because if you compare the GDP of OIC countries, of 56 countries, with the GDP of the West of 27 countries, I mean, they are 10 times heavier than the GDP of the Muslim countries. Third, do they have a military power? Do they have a military muscles to contain Israel? I mean, these are the things.
Of course. I mean, these are the fact-based analysis, of course, which you are really making here, and I appreciate it. And but I fail to understand. I really want to, really want you people to guide me here, Dr. Shahzad Cheema. Morality. I mean, does it not have any space, any role whenever the foreign policy is formulated by any country or to be specific, a superpower? 12,000 women lost their lives in 500 days in Gaza, right? At the moment, I mean, of course, it's been more than 24 years when 9/11 took place, and 3,000 Americans, they lost their lives, and still the world is facing the brunt of whatever happened in New York and Washington, D.C. So my question is that the lives of 12,000 women in Palestinians, were they had no comparison with the lives of those Americans killed there? Of course, even one human life is irreparable. I mean, no person should be killed arbitrarily. But my point is that when 12,000 women lost their lives during 500 days, so where was the world conscience? Why are we so silent? Why are we so discussing everything and the peace plan with so much ease and calm?
No, Raza, the simple answer is no. They are not equal. So Dr. Munawar was giving you a very diplomatic answer. Yeah, so the answer is no, and it again goes back to the same philosophy of having an international law and then making it a theology and converting it into a binary opposition of good versus evil and sin versus a good deed, and then forcing us, people like us, you and me, to choose a side which has already been decided whether it is good or not. So the 12,000 Palestinians are already at the side of the bad or the evil. So they are not being discussed. They are
12,000
collateral.
Palestinian women, let me add, ma'am.
Yes,
12,000
12,000
Palestinian women.
Palestinian women are collateral. They
Collateral.
are,
Okay.
yes, they are victim of the idea that they somehow give refuge to Hamas and they
But
somehow
don't you
become.
think, don't you think that there should be, there is a need of another theory that not all human lives are equal? And let it be very
Yes.
frank about it, very honest about it, and
Of course, of course, of course.
let us all accept this very fact. I mean, we say that all human lives are equal, everyone say, and no one dares saying that not all human lives are equal. So let's be very frank, and we should accept the fact that not all humans' lives are equal.
Yeah, you are totally right, and we have been writing about this idea that I think in 2021 I wrote an article after having that drastic incident when a Pakistani boat, after that EU pushback theory, there is a law in EU, a pushback law in which you are not supposed to save the people if they are not in your waters. So if they are in the international waters, let them drown there. So I have written in that, according to that, in perspective of that, that Western humanity is relative and their ability to be humane is subjective. It is always like that, and that is why we are having a parallel system. That is why we are talking about that.
In shorts, and in a very, very simple words, would you confirm or endorse what I'm going to say, that if you are rich as an individual or as a country, your lives are more valuable than those who are poor as an individual or as countries?
No, it's not about rich and poor. If you are true liberal democrat, according to the Western definition, if you are a neocon or neoliberal, then you are right. And if you are going to say anything which is opposing the new conservative, new liberal ideology, then you are Putin apologist, then you are a terrorist, then you are a Hamas follower or Hamas fan club. That is the division is not between rich and poor.
That is a very vast debate, and I fear that I don't have the luxury of time to discuss and go into the neoliberalism and all kind of Western hypocrisy, but thank you very much for pointing it out. AVM Saab, as we discuss the problem in Palestine and so much happening in Arab world, and we hope and we pray and we wish that Arab world is awakening to the crimes they committed by the Israeli forces and Israeli administration, and now this conflict is very close to the resolution. But on the other hand, we, Pakistan, we are facing multiple challenges. I mean, recently there is a report that Pakistan has become a second most hit country by the terrorism in 2025, and that primarily because in haste the United States of America and all the international forces, they left Afghanistan, leaving latest arms and ammunition there in Afghanistan, the lawless country at the moment, and all these non-state actors, they got hold of those arms and using them to target the security personnel and other soft targets inside Pakistan. So you think when President Trump says that we really want to get those arms and ammunition back from Afghanistan, it can be a common agenda between Pakistan and the United States of America inside Afghanistan, so that there's some sort of cooperation, and Pakistan would get rid of the new wave of terrorism, and America would achieve whatever the target it had set to get back its weapons from Afghanistan it had left when Biden administration was there.
in essence, it would amount to obviously change in policy, because in my very considered opinion, these weapons were not left in a haste, or they failed to manage logistics for those weapons, repatriation back to some American bases back home, or in the region. Uh, Actually, they were left here by design, and now with the change in White House, probably they think that they can have access to, if not all, partial cache of these weapons. And this proposal is doable. And if America goes ahead with this plan, there are chances that Pakistan would have a renewed relevance in American agenda for this region. Pakistan has been, out of their radar because of the other focus points of Ukraine and Middle East for past almost 3 years. And now it is for the first time that after uh, change of guards in Kabul, there have been some administration of Pakistan, and it may be a harbinger of renewed transactional. Remember, transactional
Harbinger
relationship.
of a new transactional relationship, but of course, it did not happen automatically or out of the blue. We constantly working against these forces of terror. We arrested that Al Qaeda operative Muhammad Sharif, handed over to the United States, and the person who was involved in 2021 bombing at Kabul airport, where 100 and more than 150 people lost their lives, including 13 American security personnel. So, Dr. Shahzad Cheema, the thing is that Pakistan always fulfilled its commitment, and Pakistan always acted what was right and what was good to the humanity in general. But every time there was a misconception about Pakistan, there were doubts about Pakistan, and American administration, they were using a very strange lens to see Pakistan. I don't know. And now the Trump administration, how it would be, having the relationship with us. But do you think that in Trump administration, while they are very clear about the interest of the United States of America in this part of the world, Pakistan and USA would have some sort of commonalities as far as the Afghanistan is concerned?
Raza, see, this is my biggest fear, that there should not be more than necessary commonalities, because we are going toward a multipolar world where we are going to discard the old world order, and we are going forward the Chinese prescribed new world order based on the four principles of new security arrangement, new connectivity arrangement, new civilization initiative, and so on. So this is my biggest fear, but I will definitely agree with AVM Malik that I can also see that this was very strategic. Leaving the weapons and artillery was very strategic move, and that is also connected to a decades-old policy of US pivoting toward Asia Pacific.
They want them back. They want to take all those arms ammunition back to America. Why?
Raza, I don't think that they can even get them back, because half of them is already being sold in the market, and there are multiple. I mean, Afghanistan is a safe haven for multiple groups of terrorists, and it has already been distributed among them for the sole purpose of putting pressure on Pakistan.
Dr. Sahaba, that exactly my point was, that to get all those arms and ammunition as promised by President Trump to his people, America would need Pakistan's active assistance as it wanted and it had in the past. So would you agree with AVM Saab that it is going to be another chapter, another phase of a very good transactional relationship between the two countries?
No, I don't think so, because again, it is nearly impossible to collect weapon from door to door. It is simply impractical. And after Afghanistan becoming a source for waging terrorism in Pakistan, just for the sake of creating chaos here, and just for the sake of targeting our military personnel and our law enforcement agencies and Chinese infrastructures and Chinese engineers. So we can calculate 2 plus 2 very easily. This is again, the weapon was left behind to put pressure on Pakistan to become another proxy.
Let me put it in another words. United States of America would need Pakistan's help, whatever its plan or strategy to be implemented inside Afghanistan, whether it's a collection of the weapons they left or change of the government. I don't know about it, but it would be needing Pakistan's active assistance to keep a check on all those non-state actors which might harm the US interest in future.
United States needs Taliban to pressure Pakistan to become another proxy, this time for China. So whatever you are saying is totally like poles apart what my perspective is. So we both have a perspective.
I mean, that is a very interesting analysis, but this is not what we are getting from the State Department and the White House, but very interesting. AVM Saab, any last words on that?
Well, once I was referring to any possible arrangement, obviously it will be difficult, as Dr. Cheema mentioned. The small arms and the other weapons which were readily, sellable to non-state actors, they have been sold. But America has the possibility of buying back artillery pieces and other relatively heavy equipment on the lines of the buyback of Stinger missiles after Soviet withdrawal in 1988.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, AVM Ijaz Malik, for your valuable time. Thank you very much, Dr. Shahzad Cheema, for your inputs as well. And thank you very much, viewers, for watching the program. Khuda Hafiz and good night.